guys, happy summer! It's the 21st of June, so summer solstice, and you'll have to excuse my crazy beach hair. I live at the beach, one, but two, I've just been kind of biking around, enjoying the beach and the farmers market, and all of that has kind of taken a toll on my hair. But luckily, it's beach hair, so it works. But anyhow, all hair aside. It's Friday. It's been an amazing day. As I mentioned, farmers markets are happening every Friday here in Venice. There's one really close to my house at the Venice Library, and it's a smaller one compared to a lot of the other ones I go to, but it's just perfect because you can get in and out, get everything that you need. And there's one stand in particular that has a lot of interest in Asian vegetables, but really beautifully selected. And so I got like Chinese eggplant and this really gorgeous, super extra long, you can't even see in the frame of this camera, but this big daikon that I will use in another recipe video, probably coming up next year, so stay tuned for that. But I have a couple of rituals when I get back from the farmers market, and I wanted to share them with you. One is that I just take whatever flowers I've collected, whether I've collected them from out in nature from taking my walk, if I see something that seems really inspiring, or from my own trees and flowers from the yard, or thirdly, if I buy organic flowers from the farmer's market, then I take those and I make my own arrangements and distribute them throughout the house. It's just another way to bring a little extra sunshine and happiness into the home, and I love, love, love the colors that are in season right now, a lot of the pinks and the yellows and purples. So that's just kind of one little extra thing you can kind of do to bring a little brightness into your life. The other thing that I do, and this is super a way for me to be super economical, and when I need to save money, or if I just want really to infuse a lot of really good homemade flavor into my food, I take all of my scraps from the farmer's market, and I even ask for extras, because a lot of times they'll ask you, do you want the tops off of your carrots, your beets, and do you want the bottoms cut off of your celery, yada yada, and I'm like, no, I want all that. I'm going to use that. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, do you have any extra? And I get it. So you can do the same. A lot of times at stores too, they'll ask you, and no, take it home, because then you can create your own stock, and then any dish that you decide to make throughout the week, you've got your own like flavor enriched, super awesome stock to use. So that stuff is gold. Take it home. So then what I do is I take a nut milk bag, like so, and I fill it up. So I have a compost bin that I use all throughout the week for my scraps, and then bring it out into my yard. But there are certain things that I definitely know would enhance the flavor of my stock, so I keep them aside in this bag, and I stick this bag in the fridge if I know I'm going to get to it within the week. If I know it's going to be a lot later, I put it all in a Ziploc bag and stick that in the freezer until I'm ready to get to it. But basically what I do is I fill this bag up with all kinds of yummies, and in this one it's everything from onion peels to the bottom stems of cilantro to bits of leeks to carrot parts that have softened up from staying in my fridge a little too long, oops, and from beet greens and carrot stems as well. So this smells really flavorful as is, so I'm just going to put it in a pot of boiling water. I'm actually going to put it in the pot and let it boil. Once it begins to boil, I'm going to put it on a very super low heat just so it can simmer, and I let that simmer for about 1 hour, and then an hour later I have this gorgeous broth that I can use for any recipe forward. And a lot of times I use it to make like couscous that I will then put into a salad, so that usually holds me over all week. So basically, I've started with, I don't have a stock pot, I don't really have anywhere to store it, so I just use my largest pot, fill it with water. You want to put enough water to leave space for your bag, or alternatively, you could put your bag in first and then add the water from there. There's a couple of things I like to do. One thing that I always do is add a Turkish bay leaf. So to my pot of water, before it started boiling, add the bay leaf in. My mom would put bay leaves in absolutely every grain dish she ever cooked, as any soup, stew. So I tend, whenever I cook, I use a bay leaf to impart a real rich, deep flavor, herby flavor into the pot. Sorry, I was flailing. So anyhow, so there's that. We have our pot, we have our water, and now all we have to do is heat it up. And the other thing I sometimes like to do is from the co-op, I buy these bouillons, these vegetable bouillons. As long as they don't have a lot of sodium, I go ahead and usually add one of those in there from time to time. And that's weird, there's a tomato bit that escaped, so we'll go ahead and toss that in our bag as well. Tomatoes are wonderful to impart a juicy flavor in here. The other thing that I love to put in here, I'm going to start it out on a high heat. Kind of reduce it to medium right away and then just let that simmer. The other things that I'd love to put in there, like I like to be really conscientious of putting purple onion peels in there because that's going to give me a deeper, darker color and flavor into the stock. So depending on what you want. If you want a lighter broth in stock, I recommend using things like lemon peels, herb clippings. Sometimes I'll go ahead and add the stems from the rosemary if I have any of that left over. Really, whatever you have left over throughout the week that you think is going to make a really good pairing for a broth, add it in. And then, once this is all done, I simply take the bag out. I squeeze it as much as I can because everything's going to soften up. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, and then put that all into a jar like so, and then stick this in my fridge. And then all throughout the week, any cooking that I do, this is what I use. Why use water when you could use your own stock and just infuse even more flavor into the foods that you're making? So this is the way to go. Make your own, and therefore you have no sodium, no extra salt added to this. This is just, if this has any salty flavor to it, it's because of the celery that's put in here, the celery base. So that's just another way you could save money, save time, and just infuse more flavor into your dishes. I hope you guys will do the same when you get home from farmers markets. I hope you set your scraps aside. Sure, you could put it in your compost, and that's great too, but why not use it into another meal? All right, you guys, let me know what any tips and tricks that you might have to save yourself time and money and impart a little extra something special into your dishes. I'd love to hear from you, and let me know if you thought this video was helpful. Bye guys, love you, happy summer!